All right. So Liam's upstairs playing video games. So I think I finally got my ducks in a row here. So we got us a new toy, and I did this like 2 months ago. So got a DNT thermnight 225 laser rangefinder, yada yada. Because the coyote's pretty bad around here. And that little NV100 works well, but I don't need these anymore. But it's I like new stuff. So I've already fiddled with these a little bit. So I feel like I'm not just jumping into this as far as like a review or whatever. Even that's exactly what this is going to be on the product and the company. It's my understanding that DNT optics is basically the same as Arkin. And while I've got no issue with my Arkin scope, I think for the money they are exceptionally hard to beat. These, however, this wasn't very smooth, at least for me. Granted, it's a super small sample set, one incidence, but nevertheless, it happened. It always seems to happen to me, but it happened. So the first one, this whole ordeal is a couple months old now. And just there's videos all over. So basically, this is the product. It's digital night vision, digital thermal, records, all kinds of shit. This one's got the rangefinder. So this part right here is the rangefinder. That's the button to activate the rangefinder. There's all kinds of videos on this thing on the interwebs. So when they first came available, I ordered one. It was $1,000 with the little codes and shit, that everybody seems to have except for me, because I don't have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. But anyway, so I got it in, the original one. Got it in, mounted up, and I was like, man, this is awesome. This is great. This is going to be perfect. And then all of a sudden, like, I was looking at a bunch of ducks or geese on the pond back there, and I don't know, there was a half a dozen. And then there was some deer up on the hill by my neighbor's house. So we're talking like 300-ish yards. And it doesn't matter whether it was 300 yards or 3 yards. It did this, and I'm going to explain what it was. I'm very gesturing right now for some reason. I call it staining. So, like, I had the ducks and the deer, right? And it was like, okay, cool. And then you could tell that the processor kicked on or reset or whatever it was doing. And then I'm panning, and the ducks and the deer are still in the image. And then it stained them onto that. And I tried different batteries. I turned it off, turned it on, reset, factory reset, the whole shebang. And it just kept doing it. So I got a hold of DNT. I got a bunch of screws in my pocket. So I got a hold of DNT. And they were like, oh, well, we'll send you a label. We'll send it back. So mind you, I only had it for like 3 or 4 days before it was back on its way to Texas or wherever. And so they sent me a label and all that jazz, which is great. Shouldn't have happened in the first one, but shit happens. So a week goes by, 2 weeks goes by, and I don't hear anything out of it. Like, nothing. So I call them or whatever. Takes a couple goes to get in touch with somebody, and they're, a relatively new company, so we're just going to kind of let that one skate by. But mind you, only had it for 4 days or thereabouts. And it sat on somebody's desk for 3 or 4 days and all this, so they every time, and I didn't call them every day. I probably called once a week. So this went on for a few weeks. Finally, they're like, "Oh, yep, it's back on its way." Um, because of the weather or whatever, it took forever to get it, which isn't their fault. So I finally get it, and lo and behold, same thing. So how am I supposed to do this? I think just like that. Yeah. I'm not gonna grease this shit up. It's going on a 308 that's gonna be subbed and then probably suppressed at some point. So I'm just gonna freaking get him on. So there we go. So I get the original back, and supposedly they fixed it. I turned it on, so no batteries came. So I sent it back. So it came with 2 batteries and a charger, and I sent everything back. I get the original back, no batteries, no charger. I'm like, okay, awesome. Whatever. I've got 18. It takes 18 650 batteries. I got 18 650 batteries. So I throw a battery in it, good quality LG battery, and it takes like 20 minutes, maybe, and boom, it's doing that staining thing again. But this time, it's fogged. As soon as the staining begins, it's like it's almost like when your scope loses its purge, and so the nitrogen or argon escapes, and now you can get moisture in it. That's exactly what it was like. And so I still got the same bit. So I call them up and like, hey, this is going on, and they're like, oh, okay. So they send me another label, yada yada, go through the whole business, and they're like, no, we're just going to send you a new one. So okay, cool. So 3 weeks goes by, and finally I call them, and the girl's like, so the other thing is, the guy that answers the phone the most, or the most consistent, his name is Matt. Seems like a super nice guy, but for some reason he's in New York while the rest of everybody else is in Texas. Like, you send everything from Texas, it comes from Texas, yada yada. I don't know what that's all about. It just is. It seems goofy, but he's a really nice guy, and he tries to be as helpful as possible, but fella can only be so helpful being on the other end of the country. 35 inch pounds. Seems like a lot. It's Chinesium. So when you're doing this, make sure on these cheap ass screws that you're using the right bit, because if you're using the wrong bit, you'll strip them bad boys out at 35 inch pounds, because that's a lot. So that's what it calls for. It literally says right on there, 35 inch pounds. Then the rest of it's to go on the rifles, 30 inch pounds, but we go to 20. So I finally get in touch with somebody, and they say, and the girl, I think her name's Lauren. She seems really nice. Tries to be very helpful. Says, well, we were out of stock. This is 3 weeks after the fact that they said they were going to send a new one out. Almost 3 weeks. Not quite 3 weeks. We were out of stock, but we just got some in. And it'd be going out today. Like, fantastic. But the thing is it's a bit of a shit show, if I'm honest. Like, everything's just kind of a bit of a shit show with them. And I understand it just kind of is, but man, it's irritating. I ain't gonna lie. It is flipping irritating. But anyway, so that's what we got. I mean, they seem like they're trying really hard. But, you know, if you do order one, I'm not saying it's a bad product, you know, because everything can fail, can and will fail, right? And I'm not bad mouthing them, just letting you know that it's not. You see all these influencers and stuff, and everything's awesome and hunky dory. That is not the case completely all the way around, right? But it does seem to be a good product. It's really easy to zero once you figure it out, and everything works on it pretty good. Seems like this one seems okay. I left it on for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, and it didn't have any issues. Knock on wood, but we will have to wait and see. You know, but we'll get it on here and see how it pans out. See if we can't get us a yoke with it, and I guess go from there. But that's all I got for now.